About 2 weeks ago, I decided that I wanted some styrofoam heads to hold a couple of my hats. I was only able to buy 2 at the time, so I took them home and set them up on my shelf with my fedoras on them. But they just looked too bland, too boring. I decided that they needed to be spruced up a little bit. I decorated the one with the ping pong ball eyes first. I named him Pins and Needles due to the pins sticking out of his lips. I made it so his eyes were able to move when I wanted them to. I just rolled the eyes in certain directions to make him look like he was looking that way. A few nights after I made Pins, I decided to decorate the other one. I named him Drips due to the dye that was pouring out of his mouth and eyes. I first noticed something was amiss when I woke up one morning. The heads were usually on a shelf across from my bed and above my door, but I saw that Pins was now sitting on my desk. His eyes were looking directly at me. As I remembered, I hadn't changed their position since I put them in. They were both pointed left, but now they were looking straight. It struck me as a little bit odd, but I figured that it must have fallen off in the night and I picked it up without remembering it. That still didn't explain the eyes moving, though. I tried to push it out of my head as I put Pins back on his shelf with Drips. After that, nothing happened for a few days, and I had almost forgotten about it entirely. Then, one night, I woke up in the middle of the night and Drips was out of place. He was sitting on my nightstand right next to my bed. I shat bricks. I know that I didn't put him there, and I live alone, so nobody else could have either. I hit him off my nightstand and threw a blanket over him and tried to go back to sleep. The next morning, the cover was off of him and he was sitting upright. By now, I was thoroughly freaked out by the heads. I didn't like them anymore, but I told myself that I was being irrational and scared for no reason. I picked Drips up off the floor and sat him back up on the shelf with his horrific companion. When I got back from work later that day, I took the fedoras off the heads and tossed both heads in a corner of my garage. I was finally able to sleep peacefully for a night or two. Both of the heads were stuffed in a corner of my garage, but 2 nights ago I woke up to see that they were both back up on their shelf and wearing their fedoras. I freaked out and went downstairs to sleep on my couch. There was no way in hell that was possible. Now I'm convinced I'm losing my sanity. Inanimate objects can't do this, can they? When I woke up this morning, both of the heads were sitting in the middle of the room. Pin's eyes were facing upwards towards me. I tore off the hats and threw them in the garage again. I don't know why I didn't just throw them away, but I know that I should have. They're scaring me, and I think they're moving around more frequently. I'm not going to sleep tonight. I can't stand one more night of those heads watching me. I'll keep you guys updated if anything more happens with them.